Good morning, everybody. This is John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, and we are looking at it as a way of understanding how to live a more reasonable life. And what I mean by live a reasonable life is that we live a life where we're not asking other things to change for us. You know, it's interesting. I just... These past couple of weeks, I've been working a lot, quote unquote, a lot, right? It hasn't really necessarily seemed like a lot, just because I'm always present. So, you know, I do this show in the morning, and then I do my mosaic work from like 8:30 to 2:30, you know, or 9 to 3 or whatever it is. And then I've been working because it's the holidays, and there's a bunch of like Christmas theatrics going on over at the university. I go and I do some front of house stuff over there, and I've been doing stuff with the yoga studio I work with. It's interesting because I'm doing all of these things, and I have clients, and I have all this other stuff. But it never seems like a lot. Like, it's just like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what's next. And you know, I've been just kind of thinking about, you know, you just do the next most obvious thing. You do the next thing. Just do the next thing. There's no reason to. And I was talking to an acquaintance, a young person over at the university, and I was talking to them about, like, you know, me making kombucha and doing all of these things, and they're like, "Well, yeah, but what is your main job?" And I was like living, and that's really what I do. And she was like, yeah, but you know, you're not busy. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if that's true. You know, I worked 10 hours today. I cooked 2 meals, and I brewed 2 gallons of kombucha. I mean, I don't know if it's true that I'm not busy. I mean, I don't necessarily feel busy. I don't have the, you know, I mean, I work with some people over at the university that are busy. You know, and they express that they're busy all the time. I don't so much. I just do what I got to do next. And so I just get up and do it. Not a lot of time wasted complaining about how I wish things would be. And I don't wish they would be any other way. Like, they're actually perfect as they are, which, you know, brings me to, you know, I'm going to be doing some one of the people at the yoga studio dropped the ball, or it isn't drop the ball, but they're going to be not doing their newsletter. And so I'm going to take that on. It'll probably be like 2 or 3 hours a week. No big deal. But you know, it's interesting when that comes, when things come, you can look at them as, oh, I don't have time to do that. Or you can be like, well, yeah, say less, say yes, and move forward. And, you know, I put a limit on it. I was like, okay, we'll do this for 3 months, and then we'll reassess, because, you know, I don't want to get myself marred into being your, I mean, it doesn't excite me doing newsletters and things like that. So but I wouldn't want to get marred in the idea of like, oh, well, this is what I'm leaning on you for this. No, you need to find somebody to do this. But in the interim, I don't mind doing it. And the mosaic should be wrapped up by the beginning of January. And so everything, then that opens me up. You know, it's interesting just kind of being here and following your light and following your life as it unfolds, you know, as people come in, as people go out, as new opportunities present themselves, as old opportunities wrap up. You know, it's always interesting. It's funny. I do a group called, that's a mindfulness-based stress reduction group. We were together during the pandemic. I joined a mindfulness-based stress reduction course. Well, I've kept the course going after the 3 months were all up. I just said, oh, well, I'm just going to host a Zoom room every week at the same time our thing was, and so we'll continue going. You know, it was a couple weeks afterwards that I was just like, oh, why don't we just get back together and continue this work on mindfully dealing with our stress? And I was also the only person that when it was ending, everyone was like, I'm sad. And I was like, oh, we had to go around and say a couple words about the end. And I was just like, well, I'm really glad it's ending because that opens everything up to something new. And I continued to do this mindfulness-based stress reduction. And we talk about Tao, and we talk about life, and we talk about what's going on in each other's lives. And we talk about being mindful, and we spend, 3, 5, 10 minutes, depending on how much talking we do at the end, just doing a meditation together. And that's really, really sweet and special. And I have been thinking like, oh, well, this may be coming to an end. This may have run its course. And it was funny because I'm thinking that. And then one of the people in the group said, oh, my wish for the new year is that this doesn't stop. And I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't mention to them that I've been thinking about like wrapping it up or whatever. And I don't have any specific plans on how to wrap it up. It was a thought that came to mind before this last meeting happened. And then one of the members said that. And I take it and I'm just like, oh, interesting. She doesn't little does she know, in my mind, there's this thing. Well, that gives me an opportunity to pass it off to her, right? So that she can take it on, or that we can take it on more as a group rather than me starting it and making sure that it continues. So that gives me an idea of where they're at. And I don't have to freak out and go, she doesn't want me to stop it and I have to continue it. But when the time comes for me to let it go, I can. But I also know that there will be discord. There will be someone that may not be open to having that happen. So I want to make sure that when I am ready to let it go, I don't say I'm ending it. I just say, hey, we're going to have to talk about how this can continue, right? And that gives me information, right? Like when I am thinking about doing something, the universe gives me information about how that's going to happen. And also, if that were to, it's not easy. Like things just don't have to be comfortable and easy. I got a message the other day about like the Tao, and it was like, oh, I wish it was easier. I was just like, well, yeah, everybody wishes life was easier. Everybody wishes that life was, but it's only not easy because of what we're contributing to it, right? Because of what we, like businesses all exist to make life easier for us. But then, we don't have to walk everywhere, right? We have bicycles, and then we have cars, and then we have planes, and then we have all these things. So it's easier to get around, but it's not necessarily the best thing to have all of those, right? There are pros and cons to everything. And having pros and cons to everything really balances and stepping away from some of those is really important. Hey, JK, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Beautiful.
Good.
Yeah.
I went in the ocean. I'm just out. Not that long ago. Trying to still warm up, but it was easier the second time. And it wouldn't have been as worthwhile if it wasn't difficult the first time. So thought I'd say that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's that's the thing. If it were easy, then it wouldn't be as worthwhile. Mm-hmm. Like getting sober was a challenge, Mm-hmm. And the benefits I have from it are intense. There are things in the world, it could be just in the physical world, like you're saying. It's like, if it was easy and if everyone did it, would I care? And that's the thing that's kind of happening in the world now, is like, we've made everything easy. We've made it easy to be an author. We've made it easy to be an artist. We've made it easy to, to have a college degree. We've made it easy to do all of these things that used to be that used to be uncomfortable to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
And there's still difficult things to achieve. Don't get me wrong, but because we've made it so easy, there is this expectation that you deserve it, or that you should have it, and we try and make it even easier and easier and easier. It's like, oh, I don't want to even do that to get this thing, right? And that's why it's so easy to be like a coach. It's so easy to be a, like whatever, it's so easy to do all these things. And yet there's no real value in any of it. Now, the people could be coaches. People could be, project managers or consultants or whatever, like all the things that people do that have become easier. But it's interesting.
It is really interesting, but are we taking the easy way to avoid some of the stuff that we really should be looking at is always a question, so.
Yeah. And it's what is, why do you want it so bad? Why do you want to be an author, let's say, so bad? Why, it's almost everybody's working on a book, and it's like, okay, well, what is the importance here? And everybody says the same thing, right? I want other people to whatever, right? I want to help others. I want to give my information to other people. And it's like, okay. And that's easy to do now. But is it as worthwhile? Is the end result as worthwhile now? Because, like, the world is overrun with things to read. Right? The world is like, there's so much being produced. There's so much content. There's so much, like, how much information can you seriously, how much of the information is just garbage?
But yeah, I don't know what people are absorbing. I shut off a lot of stuff, of information, because I can't absorb it all, and it's not worthwhile to me. And I think the why and moving with intention becomes very big. You've been talking about this long game, and I'm not sure, what the relevance is for what's going on completely in your life, but, beginning some, like, not doing it because you're told, not doing it because you feel like you have to. I think you had said that about your group, and I think that's very, very relevant. And really maybe asking yourself, like, what is my intent here? And moving that. It's very similar to some of the stuff you spoke about, segment intending, or, whether you do it in the day, but you should be doing it throughout, and then making a choice, whether it is something that you're willing, regardless of the journey, to do.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Easy or hard becomes irrelevant. It's not about that. It's about, I'm going to do this because if you want to,
that's right.
Then
and it doesn't,
you're going to do it regardless.
And it doesn't become overwhelming because you're doing it, because you're just doing it. Now, you can allow it to be overwhelming. You can be like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and you're constantly making the list in your mind of all the things that you're doing. And it's like, okay. Well, here, let me pat you on the back. Good job. Oh, you are so busy. That's so nice. But it's like, oh no, I'm just, because there's only one moment happening.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing now? What is happening right now? I'm working on a mosaic for myself. And then it's like, I'm making my way to the university. And then, I'm here at the university. And then, and I'm doing the thing that's in front of me. Nothing else matters. I'm just here, present, doing the thing that I do. And yeah, sometimes it could be difficult to manage all of the little things. It could be, but, If you're just doing what's in front of you, you don't have to manage it all. You just have to manage the one thing you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have a number for me today?
I don't.
You don't? Well, then
No,
I'm
my
going to
feet
pick
are
up my number.
still like
Are they
not
still cold?
completely. Yeah, I have like that thing where you're, in certain extremities, your circulation doesn't pump the same way, and
Yeah.
so they're freezing. I think I have 4 pairs of socks on, but we
Oh.
stayed in for a long time this time, and I went completely under the water, so that was really
Did
cool.
you do
And
this
we stayed
alone?
in. No, 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 you don't go into the sea alone.
Okay.
No. No, we went with a few other people, it went with a woman actually that she does this often. So it was kind of cool because I wouldn't have stayed in as long as I did if she didn't say stay. She goes, let your body adjust.
Yeah.
And, gave some instruction and guidance on like how to do that. And it was really, really cool because the longer you stayed in, the less cold you were.
Yeah.
And you're moving your legs and your feet, but we were in there for a couple of minutes,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Nice.
which was nice, and it was an experience different from the first one, but I had to get over my fear of nothing first to be able to do
Yeah.
that. Cause I don't know that I would have been able to enjoy today without that
Right.
first time. So I'm glad we got the opportunity to go again. I wasn't sure if we were, but here I am.
Well, here you are, having done it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I take cold showers, and not every morning, but when I take showers, they're cold. And in the Chicagoland area, it gets cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I mean, in the winter, my cold showers are a whole lot cold, and they're short. Don't get me wrong. They're not. I'm not lounging about, but yeah, it's wonderful to be able to be in the cold, and it feels good. I mean, it's painful sometimes, but so I picked randomly 35. The senses distract. So, just in thinking about that, it's like, hey, you can be cold, but that is just a distraction from like who you are. That's just in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, like, you're a mammal, so you can overcome that. Like that. I mean, we're the only animal on the planet that has created blankets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything else. And even if we have a full head of hair, our heads get cold, and so, but there is a skill within us somewhere to be calm in the cold. Now,
Yeah, and she kept saying, just breathe through it. You have to
yep.
breathe through it, and you have to be present, and you have to be, I've taken lots of cold showers. I don't
Yeah.
think there was about a month we didn't have any hot water for one. I forget what it was. Something broke. But anyway, so the cold showers and things like that, but you don't stay in it for very long.
Yeah.
And
Right.
maybe it's probably the same time, but it was kind of, even the tide was kind of out, which is not normally, don't usually do that, but the tide was kind of out. So the walk there and
Was
back was
long. Yeah.
long.
Right.
And it was really cold going. And then coming back, not so much. And it was just really cool because your body does adjust, but you have to be present and you have to be able to breathe. You can't freak out, right?
Yeah.
You can't freak out. And that's it. If you don't freak out, you just breathe and you calm yourself and you move, your body will adjust. If you freak out, your body will freak out.
That's right. That's right. And that's what this verse really kind of talks about quite a bit, because it says, those who know Tao cannot be harmed. They removed resistance and peace remains, even amid great pain and danger. Exciting the senses will distract people while they see Tao as a silly waste of time. If you look for it, you will see nothing. If you listen for it, you will hear nothing. If you use it, it will support you forever. You see,
Beautiful.
if you didn't have this experience, this verse would hit so differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you looked for something to make you warm, let's say, there was nothing there. If you listened for something to make you warm, there was nothing there. But you used it, and it helped you be calm. And it helped you be warm. I mean, and it wasn't that you were warm. I mean, it was still the temperature it was. But as it says
I was
in
different, yeah.
Right,
Experienced
right.
it differently.
You removed resistance and peace remained.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. It wasn't that you made yourself warm. It's like you allowed yourself to be where you were and you stopped resisting. Even amid great pain and danger, which is where you were. And if you were to excite the senses, it would have only distracted you from where you were and what your ability was in that moment.
Well, that's lovely.
There's so much, and you know, like I can't, again, there's nothing to say about it. It's just like, this is, the senses distract us when we think we're in pain, when we think we're being, you know, when we think we're in danger, when we think all these things, you know, there are ways that we can remove resistance. And when we remove that resistance, even amid great pain and danger, there is peace. Because being amongst great pain and danger is just what the senses are experiencing. You are always being held. You are always at peace. You are always being protected. But there's nothing to see. There's nothing to hear. But if you use it, if you breathe through it, if you get calm in your mind, it will support you forever.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. I hope your feet start to feel soon.
They'll happen eventually.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time. It's a little uncomfortable, but sure.
Okay,
It keeps me grounded for a few minutes, right? It's all I can do is, keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Literally.
So.
And keep wiggling those toes, getting blood down there.
Yeah, it'll come back. It usually does.
It usually does. It hasn't not yet.
It hasn't not yet. That's it. We'll see, but I feel pretty confident it'll make it there.
I'm glad. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Love you. Okay, we're going to bring Midge up. Hey, Midge, how are you today? So sometimes, I don't know if you didn't mean to join or if you're having microphone issues, but I always like to give you a little time to sort that out. And then if I don't hear from you after a minute or so, I'll go ahead and pull you out. Sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes there is technical issues. Either way, I always give you that little bit of time. So we were just reading The Senses Distract after J.K. jumped into the ocean off the coast of Ireland. it couldn't have been very warm. And she was with someone that helped her stay calm and breathe through the situation. And when we picked number 35, when senses distract, or the senses distract. And that was a perfect verse because, those who know Tao cannot be harmed. And that's the first word. If you know Tao, you cannot be harmed. And that doesn't mean that from the outside it won't look like you're being harmed. It won't look like you can be harmed because, if you're alive, you can definitely feel things, and I can look at you from the outside and be like, oh, look, you're in the ocean and you can't feel your feet, so you're in pain, you're in danger. This is a story that I'm telling about your experience, and obviously you are being harmed, right? I can tell that story. But if you know Tao, you cannot be harmed. They remove resistance and peace remains. And this is the idea of having faith in Tao, having faith in yourself, in understanding that. And this is what J.K. was told when she was in the ocean with someone that was seasoned at going in the ocean at this time. She's like, breathe through it. Be present. Don't go to fear. Don't resist. Let the water touch you, and you touch the water, right? Breathe through it. Be here with the water. Don't resist the cold. Don't resist the water. Those who know Tao cannot be harmed. They removed resistance and peace remains. So just taking her experience, we can see so clearly that these first two words, at least, these first two lines are clear. Even amid great pain and danger. Yes, it could be easy for many people that are not JK or this woman that goes into the ocean off the coast of Ireland, to be like, oh no, you're in danger because you're in the sea. You're in danger because you're cold. You're in danger for all of these reasons. And then it says, exciting the senses will distract people. So if you go into the water and you allow your senses to be excited and to dictate the experience you're having, right? Be like, my senses are telling me I'm in trouble. My senses are telling me I'm in pain. My senses are telling me I'm in danger. If you allow your senses to tell the story, then you will experience resistance because your senses are part of the manifestation. Of course, you have a sixth sense and all that kind of stuff, intuition, yes. But that could be coming also from your mind. And your mind is, part of the manifestation. So then it says, exciting the senses will distract people while they see Tao as a silly waste of time. So if you're going to be sitting here in the ocean and it's cold and you're flapping your wings, you're flapping your feet and you're scared and you're resisting and all of that. And it's like, you're going to be like, surrendering to this is a waste of time. I have to get out. I'm in danger. Right? And this is how many people live their lives. They live their lives feeling like they're being attacked all the time, feeling like they're being, they have these frames of reference that they created when they were children, oftentimes, that tell the story that you're in danger. And when you tell that story you're in danger, anything else is a waste of time. Because you're in danger, you have to get out of danger. Getting out of danger means changing where you are, changing your situation. This is why so many people have these reactions of moving and having to get somewhere else because it's easier somewhere else. Because I won't be harmed somewhere else. because I've been in danger everywhere I've gone. And so like I have to go somewhere to be safe. I have to go somewhere to be me. I have to go somewhere so that I can, right? I'm going to do something so that I can be something. Rather than being something so that things can happen, right? You have to be it within you first. And then when you can be it, you start doing the things that it is. And then so when you start by being safe, then you can start doing things like thinking about things that will, release all of the danger. And that's the thing. If you look for it, there's nothing to see. And that's what so many people and so many companies and things want you to believe. I can see you feel like you're in danger. Here's a life vest, or here's a raft, or here's whatever it is that's going to help you get out of the situation you're in. But you're in this situation, and you're the only one that can get you out of it. And it starts by not falling for the idea that you're in danger at all. Because you're not. There is no danger. It's all you. Hey, Julie, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm just listening to you and thinking of this sentence. It comes to my mind quite often. Mm-hmm. Let me help you create a problem, and then I shall offer the solution.
Yes, that's right.
That happens so often. Let me put into your peripherals an idea that can conjure up within you the idea that you have a problem.
That's right. And if you believe that, it's magic, man.
Yeah. Now I'm going to offer you a solution, because you don't realize that I've been working with you to help you create this problem. There is no problem.
There is no problem. And that's that one verse that I like so much. That's that line, the master knows that life is not without its problems, so problems turn out to be no problem at all.
That's the word. That's the word. Yeah, exactly. So,
and that's what we do. I mean, we create these and this is why I look at frame of reference so much from childhood, because it's like, as a child, you created, you were, and it's not the fault of teachers. It's not the fault of parents. It's not the fault of our communities that tell us as children, you have to go to college in order to get a job. You have to read in order to be able to, exist in the world. Well, I mean, that's not really true, because lots of things exist in the world without being able to read.
School reminds me of being told that you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
That is the whole preference of school. The more you know, the more power you will have.
Yeah.
The more you will be able to place your knowing on others and charge for it.
That's right. Yeah.
But in actual fact, some things occur that we don't know about. We just don't know. And to be happy with that is a good thing. To be peaceful with it rather than happy. It's interesting. I've come on today because I was listening to a very nice lady. I don't know her. Her name's Rona. And she was doing a video about people who find their tenacity. They find a way, they see options to help them, kind of exist in the world peacefully, if you like, without having a need to want. And she was particularly talking about people who live in vans. So people who take an alternative, due to the fact that to try and accumulate for them, it's difficult. And it puts them in a place where they measure their own production and prosperity and safety and security with what the norm is, the societal norm. And they put it to one side and live with tenacity and survive. And she has such a wonderful way with words. She really did, honestly. She was lovely and very kind and compassionate, and said, these spaces that we go to and we listen to, they really do help us realize that we're never, ever without at a loss. We're never, ever really without ability within ourselves, So that was kind of good. And anyway, the next thing I want to just talk about before I pick a number is this morning at 8:30 my time, was travelling in the van with a lovely lady in Australia. I was looking at the scenery. I was feeling the warmth of the summer. And she was kind of telling me all about, the trees that line the roads. And she showed me her van and her beautiful face, and she was talking to me. And I thought, good golly, how lovely it is to be transported in spirit, because my body was still here, and share time with this lovely lady. And she'd actually given me that as a gift. It's a gift when people give you time and share their lives and journeys with you. I think it's amazing. So I feel very blessed today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. So with that in mind, I think I'll pick a number, if that's all right. I'm going to go for number... Hang on, it's coming. 49.
49. Okay.
Yeah.
49 is illusion of separateness, which I think is really nice with your story of, being transported to Australia. Because we're not separate.
No.
And it says here, the master has freed herself from separateness. She opens herself to receive from all beings. When she encounters sincerity, she responds in kind. In the face of duplicity, her sincerity remains. When she encounters goodness, she responds in kind. In the face of evil, her goodness remains. Why should she change for the manifestation? She knows the manifestation is an illusion of separateness. Beyond that, there is only one.
How lovely. Isn't that lovely? That sums that up a treat.
Yeah, I like when, it's so interesting. Like, you could love someone and you could be in a space of being like open and receptive and loving that person. And then you find out their political affiliations. and then all of a sudden you feel differently. And all of a sudden you no longer, now you have a flag to plant somewhere. Now you have something that you need to do to make it different, to allow yourself to be heard or to allow yourself to be right, because now it's no longer about the person. Now it's no longer about you. It's about, maybe it's about you. It's about you being heard, or it's about you being right, or it's about you doing whatever it is you do. But it's like so often this turns into like, once you get this little bit of information, like then you have to put your stamp on it somehow. But here it's saying like, I'm sincere, and if you try to get one over on me, my sincerity remains. Which means that I'm still going to be upfront with you. I'm still going to tell you the truth. I'm still going to be, but I'm not going to fall for your shit. Like, if you try and lie to me, I'm going to call you out on it, and I'm going to remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put myself in danger when I know that you are being duplicitous, when I know that you're trying to, manipulate me. I'm going to let you know that I know you're trying to manipulate me, and I'm not going to do that in a passive-aggressive way. I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm not going to engage in this, and thank you very much for the invitation, but I'm not going to accept it in one way or another.
The ball. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. That's not a game that's in my favour, or it's a game that I don't enjoy partaking in, so I'm just not going to accept the invitation.
Right, and that's sincere.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to be nice. Like, it doesn't have to be a way that is, but it can be direct and it can be sincere.
Yeah.
Now, when she encounters goodness, she responds in kind. Oh, that's so nice. You're good. I'm good. We're all good. And then in the face of evil, her goodness remains. Why shouldn't it? Why should we change just because someone else has decided to be evil?
Yeah.
We do have to put ourselves in a position in which we're not going to be manipulated or in the path of a whirling dervish. But we allow ourselves to be good, and we step aside. We say, "Oh, I can yield to this too."
Yeah, whirling dervish coming through.
Yeah, go. Yeah. And I don't have to try and. Because I think a lot of times what we do is we try and show how much we're affected by the whirling dervish. How much look at what you've done to me, because then I can be that victim, right? Like, I stay in the path of it just enough to be, oh, I got bumped by this. It's kind of like when we're driving and someone wants to move over into our lane, but we've decided that they don't deserve that, and so we just hover near them, and I do this sometimes, and it's embarrassing, but I do it,
Thank God I'm not
like
driving
I've decided. What's that?
Thank goodness I'm not driving about by you.
And it's so much easier when I just relinquish that space, and I'm just like, oh no, come on in, but I lean into it sometimes. And by leaning into it, when I am forced to break when I don't want to, I can get upset. And it's just like, oh, wait, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is my fault.
It's fun though, Martin John. You're taking the fun out of it, because it's quite a laugh. It's quite a game.
It is.
Enjoy it for a little while.
But I don't have to expend that energy.
No.
Right? I can be good, and I can allow myself to continue to be good. And that's the thing. Like, we choose to engage in these things. We choose to engage in things that the manifestation has invited us to be less than we are.
Yeah.
And we can engage them. And then, this question, why should she change for the manifestation? What? That's so silly. She knows the manifestation is just an illusion of separateness. Beyond that, there's only one. This person that wants to get in. That's just me getting in. And it is okay for me to not let him in. But it would cause me me less grief if I just allowed it. And my grief.
More focused energy to that point than actually everything else that's going on. Because if you think about it, if your focus is going into this, not letting this person in, that all of your energy is there, you're now not watching the road.
That's right.
You're now not watching everything else that's going on, because your focus is being pulled in. And maybe that's what you need to do.
Right, absolutely. And it's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
But as the Tao says, what is the good if not a vision for the bad? What is the bad if not a lesson for the good? We can turn around after the incident actually happened and sit with the lesson that we're learning.
Yeah.
To sit with the information that we've gathered, because and this is stillness. Stillness allows that space to be reflective. To mature.
Yeah.
The natural cycle of maturation, right? Stillness.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for letting me on and letting me, yabble on about my day. And
I love it.
It's great. We're all together in this, We're all together in it, Martin, John.
That's true. I love it.
Have a good day. Love you.
You too, dear. I love you. Bye-bye. Yeah. The illusion of separateness. And we did 35, which was the senses distract. You're not separate. You are connected to everything, and everything is connected to you. And it's all coming in through you. And it's all being here with you. You can allow that to happen. You can allow those things to be as they are. Because you know that you know what's best for you. And so you know what's best for you in this body. My guess is you know what's best for you in someone else's body. And yes, as Julie pointed out, being an asshole sometimes is the answer. Now, it's not right, but it is your experience, right? It said there is no right and wrong, right? There is no, all of that is just measurement. But when you do something, and this is what Julie and I were talking about the other day, I think it was on Sunday, maybe it was yesterday, this idea that this is the thing that you do, and this is the thing that you were supposed to do to have the experience that you were supposed to have. Now, we can look at that and judge it from a standpoint of etiquette. We can judge it from a standpoint of morality. We can judge it from a standpoint of all sorts of things and say that was the right thing to do or it was the wrong thing to do. But this was the thing you did. So it doesn't require any judgment at all. And so just like being in traffic, if you're going to do something that is, if you're going to be a dick while you're driving your car, okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a dick while you're driving your car. Now, when you're done with that, you can ask yourself, well, did I like that I did that? And actually, it wasted a lot of my time and energy, and I stopped paying attention to the road, and I almost hit somebody, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, then maybe it wasn't worth it. And so next time you get into that situation, you can remember, I don't like that I'm doing this, and I can, and, I'm going to do it until I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to be a dick. Until such a time that I ask myself, well, can I not do it this time? Do I have the energy to not do it? And then you can let it go. And you let them in, be nice. And then maybe next time you won't be able to do that. Why should you change, right? Because I'm sure I'm sure you think of yourself as a pretty good person, right? You let people in when they need to get in because, we're all going places. Or you don't let anybody in. And why should that change for the manifestation either? Just because people think you should do that, well, fuck them. It's all the same. But do you like that you do this? Do you like that you are this person? Do you like being who you are in this moment? There's only an illusion of separateness. And you don't have to change for the manifestation. Julie's going to come back up. I must have said something.
No. I just say this to you, Martin John. As I am in kind of this space and I look in at myself and all of these wonderful whirling thoughts that go around and these whirling feelings and everything, there's one thing I want to say to you.
Okay.
Fun. You make it such fun. It always makes fun. And I love that because it's me laughing at me, hearing what you're saying, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I am that dick. And sometimes I like being that dick.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
Society or rules and regulations, etiquette, whatever you want to call it, might say that I shouldn't be a dick. But do you know what? Sometimes I enjoy being a dick. And I also come back and look at why I did that. What was that about? What was that about? That's quite interesting. That's the limit of it. It's interesting. It's interesting. All of the things, all of the interactions with everything that I ever have just fills me with interest. And that fills me with kind of that far out feeling, even before. That is awesome. But definitely, thanks this morning, because you've made me laugh out loud quite a few times. Thanks, Martin John.
Absolutely. And I really love, there's this idea, like, I don't think that everyone, there are things that you're not going to like doing, right? There are things that you're not going to want to embrace, like some people. But I think being a dick, being selfish, being all these things, I think that there are natural feelings that are make you feel nice, powerful, and I think that's how we that's how we end up with despots. That's how we end up with dictators. That's how we end up with, because people follow that feeling because it's like addiction. It's like when you have power over somebody, that feels good. Right? Because that feeling is attached to your place in the community. And so if your place in the community is, I have power over this person, at least they're going to die before me. This is a natural sort of thing. And so this is self-preservation. And so there is this thing where it's like, it's naturally good for you to want to be, and for you to feel good being a dick. Because if you can be a dick over somebody else, then you're putting them behind you, right? And they're not going to get one over on you. And that's just like animals do all the time. There's just these those little fights out in the community to be like, I'm higher in my position than you, right? And that brings you a certain level of security or safety. And so you are going to like feeling powerful, but because we can have these deeper discussions, you may not like that. You may not like that you did what you did in order to feel that way. And you can remember that you are one with everything, and that you are safe, like as we were talking with number 35, right? The senses distract. The idea that like, oh, you were beaten out by someone. That's just your senses. It's your mind, that's your sight, that's your body, that's all of these other things external to you. But it's not you. Right? So just like the Oreo cookie, you can like an Oreo cookie because it's addictive, just like the feeling of being powerful. But you don't have to like that you're a dick in order to feel that way. Right? So then you can say, okay, well, I'm going to do that until I don't. And there's an addiction to this idea that I am powerful and all of this kind of stuff. And all of those things can come in. But as we were talking, in all of these, like, why should we change who we are simply because the manifestation presented us with something new? We are us. And that is so much enough. That is so much, who we are is sacred. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're interested in contacting me, you can do so through my profile. There are links and ways for you to contact me on here. You can just say hi, and I'd be happy to be in touch. Other than that, I'm Martin John, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.